This is the ground zero of why applying to medicine is so much harder than it actually seems.
You need to be smart about it.
So I thought that was an interesting approach.
Suddenly the application process is more enjoyable. There's a lot of information online about how you can do well in a UCAT, how you can do well in a BMAT, and I don't know, write the best personal statement on the world. But what nobody really tells you is what the process is actually like. But before we start, right, this is a collaboration with Leah Rebecca. Do you know who Leah Rebecca is?
No clue.
Okay, so Leah Rebecca is an offer holder. There's videos on her tips to apply to medicine. So you should go and check her out. Shouldn't they go check her out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
After they listen to you.
On paper, medicine seems really easy, right? You have like all of these steps. You're like, okay, the first exam is my GCSEs, right? Then after that, I have my UCAT. Then I have my BMAT. Then I have my interview, and then I do my A-levels, right? On paper, that's what it looks like. In the reality, it's, I just did my GCSEs. Now I need to spend hours working out where I want to apply, why I like this university, and what makes this university interesting, and whether I could see myself spending 5 years there, or sometimes even 6 years if you do an integrated bachelor's degree. And then you're like, okay, great. Now, after many, many hours and days worth of research into whether this is a university I actually want to go to, you're like, okay, now I need to write a personal statement for this. Then it hits you that you actually need to do a lot of other stuff to make you like a well-rounded person, right? So you're applying to medicine and you're like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to volunteer. What you might not have realized is you've gone and volunteered, but your friends have gone to medical lectures. So you need to decide whether it's better use of your time to volunteer or go to medical lectures. That was something I really struggled with. This is the ground zero of why applying to medicine is so much harder than it actually seems. You have all of these small intricate things that all add up to this big, big, big picture.
I think with the voluntary work, the key is that you pick something that you are possibly already interested in and really good at, so that you can minimize your hours and still be very effective and have something meaningful on your application. So I think, for example, to your time at St. John's, I mean, it gave you another perspective on medical school. Mm-hmm. You know, you could actually see, do you enjoy this sort of environment? Do you enjoy blood? Do you enjoy, you know, everything else that's involved? And again, you met new people, they became your friends. So I think it's all, you know,
Yeah, you need to be smart about it. If you can spend it with your friends as well, and you've combined two things together, that then makes the whole journey less painful. And I feel like that's a very good piece of kind of advice to like future applicants. If you combine things you enjoy, suddenly the application process is more enjoyable.
Also, when you volunteered to help out in your former nursery school. So I thought that was an interesting approach, that's something you wanted to test out first. And I think that led to then meeting also some of the parents. Some of the children were really keen on you maybe babysitting afterwards. So, you know, everything opens other doors and all becoming quite holistic and piggybacking on each other, and I think that's where your choices were quite good.
But I think what that ties in with, that ties very well into my point with like your personal statement and choices in general, because like I did all of that and I spent hours like doing that, and I really enjoyed doing my whole volunteering aspect to it and the whole nursery aspect. But in my personal statement, I didn't mention a single thing about nursery, just because with time, I found other things that I thought would be more important, or I would prefer talking about my personal statement, or when it came to interview, I would prefer talking about those things. That's then the point where you have all of these choices and you want to do as much as you can, and you want to inform yourself as much as you can. So I think this whole volunteering and this whole nursery thing is a great point to make, because it really shows that you can do a lot of work, but you also need to accept the fact that you might have done something that's been really meaningful and that you really enjoy doing, but that might not be the best thing for your application.
I think that was a good choice, because it was actually one for, you know, close to you personally. I think one thing usually universities like is when you have some leadership trait, and you covered that already, being captain of the rowing team.
Yeah.
So you did not need to add another voluntary work that showed that you're a leader. Mm-hmm. For you, you know, you then could pick another adjective or another area that may concern a university, a trait that they may want to see in you. It's good that you balance what's important for you to reassure yourself that you're on the right track, and, you know, to think about what is going to convince the university that I'm a great candidate. And I think you had a really good mix of
because
activities.
those are two very different things.
Yes, they are.
That's a really good point. This whole balance between what is good for you and what would be good for your application, because yes, you want to have the strongest application and you want your application to be as good as possible, but you also need to be true to yourself whether you can and will be a good doctor. And the best way to do that is through learning and through finding stuff out. And like I did this nursery thing, talking to a lot of kids was a very interesting experience. I could communicate things that would be really challenging for a child to understand. In medicine, that's so important. Normal people won't understand the drug names or whatnot that you're applying, but you need to explain that in words they will understand. And for me in nursery, I realized that was something I could do. So I didn't need to faff around and kind of have second thoughts on how I'm going to end up learning that before I become a doctor. You don't want to spend 5, 6, 7, 8, depending on where you live, whether you're in the US or the UK or whether you do extra degrees, and then find out, actually, I suck at talking to people.
Your hard factors are your academic grades, and the soft factors are everything else you build on top, and where you create a personality and a candidate that they want.
There are websites like Medic Portal is a great one that really just shows you what it is that medical universities are looking for, and those are like some really helpful tools. Like there are resources out there to make this process easier, right, and to help you out, but in the end it's still a lot of you.
People will not read through 10 things and they will wonder whether you even know what you're doing. And I think if you decide that sport and leadership and caring is it, then go for those 3. And I think a stronger application on each of these points is stronger than having then some music or art or something else thrown into the...
That's a good point. I was at this talk, right, for like applying to medicine, and they were talking about how a lot of traits they will actually teach you. Like if you lack in communication, they will teach you communication, because how you communicate as a doctor is different than you might in real life, right? So they will teach you all of these things. What they basically are looking for, apparently, is your ability to learn and your desire to learn, and basically just determining that you have a passion for it. Organization
to me is a key thing, and to fit in all of this that you want to do and you set yourself to do at a high level, and you can be extremely organized and structured.
Yeah, organization is something you can learn. Like if I picture me like 3 years ago, I was very unorganized. Like my mum would laugh at me like every single day. But you develop it, you improve on it, and I think once you have decided that medicine is what you want to do, you just find a way to be good at things. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I really hope you enjoyed this video. There's a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to reflecting on medicine and the application process and what it's like. There is a huge, we've covered a section of it. Medicine is really hard to apply to, but I would do it again in a heartbeat.